You're watching India First. I'm Gaurav Sawant. Big story coming in. An Iranian warship has been torpedoed by a US Navy submarine in the Indian Ocean off the coast of Sri Lanka. The video that we're about to show you is of the US torpedo strike. US submarine fired a torpedo that sank Iranian Navy corvette Dana. And this video has just been released by the US Department of War that shows you the exact moment of the torpedo strike. Big statement that's been made by US Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. He's confirmed an American Navy submarine lurking underwater in the Indian Ocean region. It spotted this Iranian warship and sank it off the coast of Sri Lanka, somewhere off the coast of Goal in the Indian Ocean region. There's a very important message that the United States is sending out. Iran will no longer have a navy. 17 ships were sunk till earlier today, and in the past 1 hour, we are told 20 warships, 20 Iranian warships and 1 submarine have been sunk by the United States. Iranian ships and submarines have been sunk by the United States since the beginning of these operations. Information that's filtering out seems to indicate that this Iranian warship, a corvette, was returning after an exercise in India. It participated in an exercise called Milan off the coast of Visakhapatnam. It had also taken part earlier, according to reports, in the International Fleet Review in the Bay of Bengal. Then was returning to Iran through the Indian Ocean region. Sri Lanka's Deputy Foreign Minister has said the information they have is close to 80 sailors who were on board the Iranian warship. 80 sailors were on board. A large number of them are feared dead. The vessel reportedly sent out an SOS, a distress signal, save our souls signal, before the ship went down to the bottom of the Indian Ocean, triggering a large rescue operation in the Indian Ocean by Sri Lankan forces. The United States has said, as on date, as of now, they've sunk 20 Iranian warships, fast attack crafts, corvettes, and 1 submarine. Their aim is to ensure, their information is, US Navy information as of now, is there isn't a single operational Iranian warship in either the Arabian Sea, the Strait of Hormuz, or the Arabian Gulf or the Persian Gulf, insisting that their aim is to ensure Iran no longer has a navy. Watch that image very closely. It shows you the precise moment of the torpedo strike in the Indian Ocean region, and the ship, it sent out a distress signal, an SOS, and then sank to the bottom of the Indian Ocean. Listen in to US Secretary of War Pete Hegseth on US successes in the war against Iran in 4 days.
Iran's senior leaders are dead. The so-called governing council that might have selected a successor, dead, missing, or cowering in bunkers, too terrified to even occupy the same room. Senior generals, mid-level officers, enlisted ranks, they can't talk or communicate, let alone mount a coordinated and sustained offensive. That's not great for morale. The Iranian Air Force is no more, built for 1996, destroyed in 2026. The Iranian Navy rests at the bottom of the Persian Gulf. Combat ineffective, decimated, destroyed, defeated, pick your adjective. In fact, last night, we sunk their prize ship, the Submarine. Looks like POTUS got him twice. Their Navy, not a factor. Pick your adjective, it is no more. In fact, yesterday, in the Indian Ocean, and we'll play it on the screen there, an American submarine sunk an Iranian warship that thought it was safe in international waters. Instead, it was sunk by a torpedo. Quiet death. The first sinking of an enemy ship by a torpedo since World War II.
To date, we've hit over 2,000 targets, as Admiral Cooper said in his video last night. We've destroyed more than 20 Iranian naval vessels, including, in addition to the frigate outside of the area, one submarine, and effectively neutralized at this point in time Iran's major naval presence in theater out there. A United States Navy fast attack submarine has sunk an enemy combatant ship using a single Mark 48 torpedo to achieve immediate effect, sending the warship to the bottom of the sea. I want to remind everybody that this is an incredible demonstration of America's global reach. To hunt, find, and kill an out-of-area deployer is something that only the United States can do at this type of scale. Over the next 24 to 48 hours, CENTCOM will continue to strike infrastructure and naval capability, and we'll continue to assess our progress against the military objectives. It does take time for us to collect that information and to assess en route. Much of our intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capability is currently hunting and killing ballistic missile launchers and one-way attack capability. We're precise in that assessment, and we call balls and strikes in that.
I quickly want to bring in India Today's Sandeep Punithan joining me for more on the story. Also with me is our Foreign Affairs Editor, Geeta Mohan. Sandeep, a warship being sunk, being torpedoed. I mean, we've seen this, we've heard of it in 1971 when it happened to Kukri. I think post the Second World War. During the Second World War, hundreds of ships were sunk, both by the Germans, the U-boats. They sank many ships, but post the Second World War, there's just been about a handful, half a dozen perhaps, ships that have been sunk by submarines. This is huge, Sandeep.
It is huge, Gaurav, and I must tell you this, in the Second World War, something like 2,000 warships were sunk by submarines of various nationalities, 2,000. In the 80 years since the Second World War, only 4 warships have been sunk by submarines. The first one, of course, was INS Kukri in December 1971. The second was the General Belgrano, the Argentinian destroyer that was sunk by the HMS Conqueror.
The Falklands War.
The third one was the Republic of Korean Navy ship, the Cheonan. It's a corvette that was sunk in 2010 by a North Korean midget submarine. This is only the fourth.
And then, of course, Dana.
And I'll just explain to our viewers what we are seeing in those unprecedented visuals that we are seeing, Gaurav. We have not seen this kind of clear footage of a submarine torpedo hitting another warship in the last 80 years. This is historic in that sense. This is the first ever visual of a warship being sunk by an enemy torpedo in the last 80 years. So very briefly, if you can play those visuals, I'll explain what's going on here. We know that the Americans fired a Mark 48 torpedo. Now, the Mark 48 is the standard American torpedo. It equips all of their submarines. And what you see there is a massive explosion under the keel of the Iranian frigate. Now, the torpedo, contrary to what people think, it does not directly impact the ship. What it does is it goes under the keel of the ship, about 5 meters under the ship, it explodes. Now, the reason behind that is that the column of water under the ship basically rises up and it breaks the keel of the ship. It's the most devastating attack of any ordnance out at sea, and it's the most terrifying scene because if you see, the Iranian ship was holding a steady course. It was possibly on passage. It wasn't at action stations. If it were in action stations and it knew that there was a submarine in the vicinity, it would have begun taking evasive maneuvers. This ship was, on passage. It was doing a steady course. It was to call in at Cochin. The torpedo went under the keel, and if you see that, it's at the American nuclear-powered attack submarine has picked up the Iranian ship on its periscope. He has come to periscope depth. Now, that's very important, Gaurav. Normally, what nuclear-powered attack submarines would do is that they would
underwater,
very deep underwater, launch their torpedoes, and then leave. But here, the American submarine seems to have risen to periscope depth and done it the old-fashioned way. Now, the Mark 48 has a range of about 20 kilometers, and it has a warhead of about 300 kgs of high explosives. So that is the blast that you're seeing there. The ship would have sunk, I'm guessing, in about 3 minutes.
Almost immediately.
Yeah,
But it would have just snapped into two.
It would have snapped into two, and out of a crew of about 180, just about 30 people were survivors. It was just the people on the upper decks who would have survived. And bear in mind, Gaurav, this incident, this is infrared vision that you're seeing, night vision. This attack was carried out in pitch darkness. It would have been late, early in the morning, pre-dawn. About 5 a.m. is what the Sri Lankans say they got the distress call.
SOS information.
So this would have been in pitch black seas, and you would not have seen anything, because that's how submarines, we've covered this, Gaurav. Submarine warfare is one of the most terrifying attacks out at sea.
It is total sea denial for the adversary, because nobody would want to be in those waters the moment you know there's a nuclear powered submarine in that area, and especially an attack submarine in Gita. This for Iran would be devastating. They've lost 20 warships, they've lost one submarine, and this is America going on record to say the moment they fire a missile, that missile launcher is gone. So it's almost with pinpoint accuracy that America and Israel, the most powerful armed forces, are taking down Iran.
Well, that's absolutely right. This is a very, very serious threat. But the escalation that you're seeing is absolutely unimaginable. Zooming out a little, Gaurav, this is in the Indian Ocean. It's off the coast of Sri Lanka. Opposition leader Namal Rajapaksa has already reacted to the seriousness of what this looks like. And we're still awaiting a response from the Ministry of External Affairs, because this was a ship that had gone to Vizag, to Visakhapatnam, for a very friendly exercise and was on its way home. The fact that they were monitoring the ship whilst it was in Visakhapatnam, and the fact that that a spy submarine has done what it has done in these waters should be a concern for us, as much as it is going to escalate the situation between Iran and Israel, and how and the United States of America, and how Iran is looking at the situation. It's the Indian subcontinent, particularly the peninsula, that should also be concerned about a spy submarine in these waters.
And you know, you and I had put that question to the president of Finland. What does it say of rules-based order, or the lack of it, and the law of the jungle in this region, in whether it's West Asia or Europe? But there's more breaking news coming in. Big claim by the United States. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, says American and Israeli Air Force would gain complete and uncontested control of Iranian airspace within a week. According to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, operations will run round the clock, targeting Iran's missile system, their missile launch capabilities, missile silos, missile manufacturing capabilities, whatever remains of their air defense infrastructure, and their military leadership, including the IRGC, or the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. United States Chairman, Joint Chiefs of Staff, he's also said that as of now, the operation is shifting from large standoff strikes to more precise stand-in strikes. And that also indicates that the United States and Israel are well and truly in control to be able to move in closer, fly over Iran with impunity, and strike at will. Iran's missiles and drone launches, they've declined in recent days. The Israeli Air Force says they've struck defense and detection systems at Tehran's Mehranabad airport, further degrading Iran's air defense capabilities. Tehran said it will and could target Israel's embassies worldwide if Israel strikes the Iranian embassy in Beirut. Listen in.
And that we protect our warfighters by crushing the enemy. Iran will never possess a nuclear bomb, not on our watch, not ever. And this is why President Trump's moral clarity on Iran today is so vital. Unlike the past, where vague red lines and endless negotiations let Iran fund terror and inch ever so slightly toward a bomb, this president sees the threat plainly and acts decisively. No more half measures, especially when Iran is at its weakest. No more letting Tehran play for time while our people pay the price. His leadership ensures that we finish what we start and that we protect our warfighters by crushing the enemy before they can strike again. Our offensive operations, refined through months of relentless preparation, are unstoppable. And our defensive efforts are unprecedented. We have from the start put the protection of our troops ahead of everything else. Before we very publicly built up offensive combat power, we quietly ensured that our defensive posture and power was in place. This is not a mission accomplished situation. This is simply a reality check. The combination of U.S. and Israeli intelligence and combat power will control Iran, and will control it soon. Sure, Iran will still be able to shoot some missiles and still be able to launch one-way attack drones at civilian targets, and their proxies will attempt to attack our embassies, bases, and soft targets. They are terrorists, after all, and they need to target civilians because they can't fight toe-to-toe. But we will find them, and we will kill them. This is what the fake news misses. We've taken control of Iran's airspace and waterways without boots on.
Sri Lankan opposition MP Namal Rajapaksa has asked very pertinent questions after the US Navy sank an Iranian ship off the coast of Sri Lanka. Namal Rajapaksa has asked what's happened off the coast of Galle is extremely serious. Reports indicate over 100 Iranian personnel are missing after what appears to be a submarine attack just outside our waters. It's a major security concern. I quickly want to cut across live to Sri Lanka. Namal Rajapaksa joins us. Sir, welcome. Sir, explain to us why you think it's a very, very serious security concern for Sri Lanka, perhaps for the region, that the US Navy sinks an Iranian ship in these waters in the Indian Ocean region.
Yeah, firstly, Sri Lankan government must tell the public of Sri Lanka whether they were aware of this kind of a mission or not. I mean, that's the first question to be answered by the Sri Lankan government. And I must also say that the Sri Lankan Navy has acted accordingly to the international law, and they have gone on a rescue mission for the people who have been affected. So it is a question to be answered by the government of Sri Lanka whether they were aware of this mission, or if not, if they were kept on dark, then they should question the authorities from US as to how that kind of incident took place in the Indian Ocean and in Sri Lankan economic zone.
And it's happened off the coast of Sri Lanka, coastal waters, economic zone, or international waters. Is there clarity on that as of now, sir?
There is not such clarity because what we get information from what we see on media, and especially the government of Sri Lanka has been giving mixed statements regarding this. And first they were not talking about a submarine attack, but now the US authorities have confirmed it as well. So this is a clear indication that the region has to work very closely at this given hour because, as you know, the Gulf region is far away, but the effect is happening in South Asia and Indian Ocean as well. So this is not only security regarding the Indian Ocean, but Sri Lanka, but this is regarding the Indian Ocean as well. So I believe India has to play a pivotal role in this and take leadership in the region and to see how we can bring stability and the peace to the region.
That's a very important point you're making, sir. So along with the Sri Lankan government, you say India has to play a pivotal role or a very major role. What are your expectations of India at this stage, especially when this is happening in these waters in the Indian Ocean region? And according to you, why is this such a grave cause of concern if a US Navy submarine is lurking in these waters?
Well, see, whether it is from US or any other country, a submarine operating militarily in Sri Lankan borders and also in Indian Ocean is something to be concerned. And I believe India has to play a pivotal role as one of the leading economies in the world, and also India has to play a major role in bringing peace and stability to the region. So Sri Lankan waters, Sri Lankan Navy has done what we have to do as to further information that we have got and responded according to international law. But at the same time, I believe India has to play a major role in maintaining peace and stability in the region because Gulf region is affected And next we want is another instability in the Indian Ocean, so which is not going to help anyone in the region and in the world as well.
Oh, you're absolutely right, because the fire of West Asia could soon spread to this region, and that could have devastating effects. We've seen it in Sri Lanka, we've seen it in India, we've seen it in this region. Are you apprehensive about that?
Yes, I mean, see, we have seen enough war in our country. We have gone through it, and we know how it affects generations. I mean, it was 30 years of war we were fighting against LTT, and still we are facing certain consequences for decisions that we had to take. So war is not acceptable. Targeting humans, targeting school children, infrastructure, economic centers are not accepted at any cost. So I think first we have to be out of war, out of fighting each other, bring stability and peace to the region. And now the Gulf region is unstable because of that. And I think that next we want is to spread it to our region. So this is where I think the region has to get together and make sure that there is stability and peace, and the region is safe.
Namal Rajapaksa, are you also apprehensive that this could lead to a rise of terror in this region? Sri Lanka has suffered terror. India has suffered terror. This region has suffered terror, and a fire from there could actually burn our houses.
Well, see, it's how we react and how we respond to this. I think we have enough. Our leaderships are very mature enough to face this, especially Prime Minister Modi and even the Sri Lankan president. With all due respect, even though we have different political parties and political ideology, I'm sure there are enough mature leaders in our region to face this in a very statesmanship manner.
Namal Rajapaksa, for joining me here on this India Today special broadcast. Many thanks. Sincerely hope this entire region stays safe when this situation seems to be escalating. While our focus remains entirely on what's happening in West Asia, national attention remains focused on the escalating situation, also what's happening within our country. So there's a major political reshuffle that appears to be on the cards in Bihar. The NDA is reportedly considering sending Chief Minister Nitish Kumar to Rajya Sabha and appointing a BJP leader as the new Chief Minister of Bihar. Sources are telling India Today Nitish Kumar's son Nishant Kumar could be offered the Deputy Chief Minister's post in Bihar. But that's one major, quite a tectonic shift in Bihar. But it's not just in Bihar. There's a very major development that's taking place in Tamil Nadu. After prolonged negotiations, the Congress and the DMK alliance has been finalized. So the Congress, we are told, will contest 28 seats in the upcoming Tamil Nadu elections. They've also secured one Rajya Sabha seat as part of this agreement. So we'll also keep our focus very squarely on major political developments that are taking place within the country as we focus on this big fire, this war in West Asia. But that is all I have time for on this special broadcast. Many thanks for watching. News and updates continue on India Today. Stay with us.